The year was 1986. The Philippines stood at a crossroads, its people yearning for change after decades of authoritarian rule. Manila was alive with tension and hope. The city's streets buzzed with anticipation, as whispers of revolution grew louder with each passing day. Millions of Filipinos gathered on EDSA, unarmed but determined, facing down tanks and soldiers. They came not with weapons but with courage and conviction, united by a single dream: freedom. This was the People Power Revolution, a peaceful uprising that stunned the world. Images of Filipinos standing firm in the face of danger flashed across international headlines, inspiring people everywhere. People from all walks of life stood united, demanding an end to years of corruption and oppression. Students, workers, priests, nuns, and families. Everyone was there, shoulder to shoulder. At the heart of this movement stood a leader of quiet strength, a symbol of their dream for a new beginning. This leader embodied the hopes of a nation desperate for change. He wasn't a fiery revolutionary, but his calm resolve and integrity inspired millions. His gentle demeanor masked a fierce determination to see justice restored. He had long opposed the dictator Ferdinand Marcos, sacrificing much for the cause. Years of struggle and personal loss had only strengthened his resolve. As he stood before the crowds, his presence was a beacon of hope. People looked to him for guidance, believing he could lead them to a brighter future. The people saw in him not just a politician, but a reflection of their own longing for freedom and justice. He became the living embodiment of their aspirations. He spoke of restoring democracy and healing the nation's wounds. His words offered comfort and courage to those who had suffered for so long. His words resonated with those who had suffered in silence. For the first time in years, hope flickered in their hearts. The atmosphere was electric, rosaries in hand, flowers offered to soldiers, the world watching breathlessly. The spirit of nonviolence prevailed even in the face of uncertainty. This leader became the face of peaceful defiance, guiding the nation toward democracy. His steady hand reassured a nation on the brink of transformation. The revolution's success felt miraculous, a testament to the power of ordinary people. Against all odds, they had changed the course of history. The dictator fled, and a new government was born. The world watched in awe as the Philippines embraced a new era. Swept into power by overwhelming support, the leader was now the nation's savior. The hopes of millions rested on his shoulders. Expectations soared: rebuild the economy, restore democracy, deliver long-denied justice. The challenges ahead were immense, but so was the faith of the people. The future of the Philippines rested on his shoulders. Every decision he made would shape the destiny of a nation reborn. The world celebrated, but the real test was just beginning. Could the promise of people power be fulfilled in the years to come? Could this hero fulfill the promise of EDSA? The eyes of the nation and the world remained fixed on him. The nation watched, hopeful and anxious. Every Filipino, young and old, waited to see if their sacrifices would lead to lasting change. The story of his leadership was only just beginning. The journey to rebuild a nation, to heal its wounds, and to honor the spirit of EDSA had only started. To truly understand the hope that swept the Philippines in 1986, we must first remember the darkness that came before. The years leading up to the revolution were marked by fear, uncertainty, and a sense of helplessness that gripped the nation. For over 20 years, Ferdinand Marcos ruled the Philippines with an iron fist, consolidating power and silencing his critics. In 1972, he declared martial law, suspending civil liberties, dissolving Congress, and giving the military sweeping powers. The press was muzzled, and voices of dissent were quickly silenced. For 14 long years, fear and repression became a part of daily life. People whispered in hushed tones, afraid of being overheard. The government controlled everything: the press, the courts, even the economy. No one was truly safe from the regime's reach. Critics and activists were arrested, tortured, or simply disappeared without a trace. Thousands suffered in silence, their families left searching for answers. The promise of a new society quickly faded, replaced by a nightmare of corruption, brutality, and broken dreams. While Marcos, his family, and their cronies lived in luxury, they plundered the country's wealth, stealing billions. Meanwhile, most Filipinos struggled to survive, sinking deeper into poverty. Key industries were handed over to friends and loyalists, while the national debt soared to unprecedented heights, mortgaging the country's future. The gap between rich and poor grew wider than ever before, with opulence standing in stark contrast to the misery of the masses. By the mid-1980s, the people's patience had run out. The nation was simmering with anger and frustration. The assassination of opposition leader Ninoy Aquino in 1983 shocked the country and became a turning point, igniting a fire in the hearts of millions. Outrage exploded across the nation, uniting a once fragmented opposition. People from all walks of life began to find their voice. The call for change grew louder and more urgent as the nation became a powder keg ready to ignite. The people desperately needed a leader to unite them, to give them hope, and to challenge the dictator's grip on power. The stage was set for a new hero to emerge from the shadows of tyranny. The revolution was coming, and the world was about to witness history in the making. Soon, the world would witness the incredible power of a people determined to reclaim their freedom and shape their own destiny. After the revolution, the new leader was celebrated worldwide. The world watched in awe as the Philippines became a beacon of hope for peaceful change, inspiring millions across continents. International leaders praised the courage of the Filipino people, and the nation's story was splashed across front pages everywhere. She was hailed as a reluctant hero, a symbol of hope and nonviolence. Her gentle strength and unwavering resolve captured the imagination of people both at home and abroad, making her an icon of democracy. In the Philippines, her popularity soared. She was everything Marcos was not. For many, she represented a new beginning, a chance to heal old wounds and restore dignity to a nation long oppressed. Her administration quickly released political prisoners, reuniting families torn apart by years of dictatorship and fear. They drafted a new constitution, laying the foundation for a more just and open society. The press was freed, and a vibrant media landscape emerged, giving voice to stories that had long been silenced. Journalists, once muzzled, now reported freely, and the public engaged in spirited debate. The Presidential Commission on Good Government was created to recover stolen wealth, signaling a new era of accountability and transparency. These reforms sent a clear message: the days of impunity were over. The government promised to confront corruption head-on, and citizens demanded justice. For a time, the dream of people power seemed real. The spirit of unity and hope filled the air, and the world looked on with admiration. The leader was seen as a moral crusader, restoring decency to public service. Her administration promised to put the people first and to rebuild trust in government. Filipinos looked to the future with optimism, trusting her to rebuild the nation. Hopes soared for a brighter tomorrow, where every citizen could share in the country's progress. But the challenges ahead were immense. Poverty, inequality, and unrest still lingered, threatening to undermine the fragile gains of democracy. The euphoria of EDSA would soon collide with harsh realities. The road to true freedom and prosperity would not be easy. The choices she made next would define her legacy, shaping the destiny of a nation still searching for its place in the world. The promise of democracy was about to be tested, as the Philippines stood at a crossroads, its future uncertain, but its hopes undimmed. The joy of freedom quickly gave way to economic crisis. The Philippines was bankrupt, desperate for recovery. The new government turned to foreign investment, opening the economy to global markets. Generous incentives lured multinational corporations, but the terms favored outsiders. Local businesses struggled, foreign firms dominated. Environmental costs soared as mining companies devastated forests and displaced communities. The government, eager for revenue, often ignored the destruction. Profits flowed out of the country, while ordinary Filipinos paid the price. The leader who promised to serve the people now presided over a system that exploited them. The first cracks in his image began to show. The cost of progress was becoming painfully clear. The Marcos era's U.S. military bases were symbols of lost sovereignty. The 1987 Constitution banned foreign bases after 1991 unless a new treaty was approved. The Senate rejected a new agreement, forcing the U.S. to leave, a proud moment for the nation. But soon, under pressure, the leader's administration negotiated the Visiting Forces Agreement. American troops returned, now with legal immunity. Critics saw this as a betrayal of the nationalist spirit of EDSA. Protests erupted, accusing the leader of putting foreign interests first. The question lingered: whose side was he really on? The wounds of colonialism were reopened. The administration launched a massive privatization campaign. State-owned enterprises, from airlines to utilities, were sold off, often to powerful oligarchs and foreign corporations. Promised competition rarely materialized. Monopolies simply changed hands. Public services like water and electricity became profit-driven, not people-centered. Water bills in Manila soared after privatization, while service improvements lagged. The energy sector was deregulated, but costs for consumers only rose. The leader championed these moves as modernization. But the real winners were private companies, guaranteed profits by the government. Contracts favored the new owners, not the public. The state, meant to regulate, often sided with business. The people bore the brunt of these changes. The promise of empowerment was slipping away. Privatization and foreign investment failed to lift most Filipinos. Instead, life grew harder. Water and electricity bills soared, straining family budgets. Promised improvements were slow. Many poor communities saw little change. High electricity rates crippled households and small businesses. Foreign investment brought jobs, but often low-wage and insecure. Labor laws were weakened, making it harder for workers to fight for better conditions. Cheap imports devastated local industries, especially agriculture. Millions lost livelihoods, forcing migration and breaking up families. The gap between rich and poor widened. The hero of EDSA seemed increasingly distant from ordinary struggles. Disillusionment replaced hope. Was this betrayal or necessity? The leader's legacy is fiercely debated. Defenders say he inherited a broken nation and made tough choices for recovery. They argue that reforms brought growth and stability. Critics counter that he surrendered economic sovereignty to foreign interests. The benefits went to a small elite, while millions suffered. For many, the reforms were a disaster, destroying livelihoods, deepening inequality, and eroding independence. The cost was the nation's future. The hero's decisions shaped a generation's fate. The question remains, did he save the Philippines or sell it out? This leader's story is a lesson in the complexities of power. The line between hero and villain is often blurred. The qualities that inspire revolutions may not suffice for governing. Surrounded by technocrats and global pressures, even the best intentions can go astray. The economic framework he built still shapes the Philippines. Privatization, foreign dependence, and inequality endure. The hero of EDSA restored democracy's form, but critics say he sold its substance. His legacy is a cautionary tale. Hope can curdle into disillusionment. True independence means more than ousting a dictator, it means shaping your own destiny.